Welcome on in, everyone, to the Not From Philly podcast. I'm Adam from Wales with my partner, Justin from Tennessee. And as you can see, we're joined by two good friends of the show, practically co-hosts like Justin. Love these guys, love having them on with us. And welcome in Drew from Westchester and making his return to the pod, Cory from Columbus. Welcome in, guys. As you can see from my background on my screen, I got Howie in the ski mask because he pulled off some crafty trade deadline moves again, and hopefully they turn out to be good now because Jalen Phillips is a solid edge rusher, solid run stuffer in the defense. Jair Alexander has always been a good cornerback. Been banged up a little bit recently, but we'll see how long as he can, get on the field at different points in the games to contribute. Then, and it adds more depth that we desperately need this year. Depth is what we seem to have lacked at times, and we seem to be getting it back now with obviously Nolan Smith coming back as well. So welcome in, guys. How you doing? I'll start with you. What do you think of the bye week? Did Howie pull off, another Howie season, or are you in the middle about it? How are you feeling?
Well, I really love the Phillips trade. Getting him for a third was great. I think it's kind of a win-win situation. If he plays out, they're going to re-sign him. He's young. He's 24, 25 years old. I know he's had some injury history stuff like that, but Fangio wanted him. Kid had his best season ever under Fangio as a rookie at Miami before he got injured. So if Fangio's signing off on it already, then it's probably going to be a good thing because some of the things they've done, Fangio's just kind of been iffy on, and if Fangio's out on you, your ass ain't getting on the field.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've been kind of thin at edge, had a lot of injuries. We've brought BG back. We've made this trade. So I mean, hopefully things are looking on the up and up, and we're getting ready to take off this second half after the bye.
Yeah. How you feeling, Cole? About everything.
I mean, I like the trades. I feel like the Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips, I was always a fan of him. I think he went to, if I'm not mistaken, UCLA for school.
UCLA.
And then
Yeah.
Miami, I think.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
got Miami. Yep. So I've always been a fan of his. I think when he came out, I actually wanted the Eagles to draft him. I can't remember what draft that was and who we ended up getting. I think that might have been the AJ Brown draft. Am I tripping?
Maybe.
I think that was
Maybe.
we traded for AJ Brown. But I like him. I mean, I'm a Jair Alexander fan. I mean, obviously more by name than his play recently.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that like Howie Roseman didn't just sit still and say, "Hey, I'm just gonna roll with the guys that we got." Because I mean, we've seen deadlines before like that. I mean, not to change sports, but I've seen the Phillies do that before. We've seen the Eagles do that before in the past. So I like the fact that Howie Roseman said, "Hey, man, I see there's deficiencies on the team, and I'm gonna try to address those positions."
Yeah. What about you, Drew? How you feeling about the trade deadline?
Yeah, I feel good. I feel good. I feel real good. I think to Justin's point, look, the one thing we know about Vic, right, is he kind of likes what he likes. And I think, he's earned the right to have that stance. Sometimes it can be a flaw. Sometimes it can be a good thing. I think, obviously the pluses outweigh the minuses. So I think it's good that, obviously Jalen Phillips has the connection to him and all, from the time with the Dolphins, and that, Jair Alexander has the, close connection with, Christian Parker, I think from his time with the Packers, the DB coach, who also, is obviously close with Vic. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember this or not. I'm always haunted by, do you guys remember there was a quote after we traded for Golden Tate in 2018 from Mike Groh a couple weeks later, and he was the offensive coordinator, and he was like, it's been hard to integrate him in the offense, and I'm like, you're a former receiver coach, so you got to figure it out. So I like that hopefully won't be a struggle here where there's some familiarity with Vic's system. Yeah, I mean, look, obviously, Myles Garrett, was certainly tempting, but I'll just say I'd rather have done what we did than, giving up 2 firsts for Sauce Gardner. I like Sauce, but I think that's an expensive, price to pay that the Colts paid.
Real quick, while Drew's on that, I love Miles Garrett, but 3 first, man, y'all got to look at what our last 3 first-round picks have been. I mean, Howie's done a heck of a job these last few
Yeah.
drafts, and I mean Nolan, he's been injured and stuff like that, but he really played well last year. It looks like Jaheed Campbell's gonna be a phenomenal linebacker for us in the
Oh
years
yeah.
to come. So I mean, I know Miles Garrett is a generational type talent, but man, 3 firsts, that's a steep price to pay for that. But I probably would have been happy that we got him. But yeah, like Drew said, man, three firsts, that would have been tough for me to let go of.
My thing with the three, so I was in favor of trading for Miles Garrett. Obviously, my thing with the 3 firsts is that one thing about Howie Roseman is that, like, I think I like Joe Banner kind of like touched on it this week when he was on, I think, was it the Rich Eisen show? Like,
Yeah,
Howie is going to get those picks back. So it's like when Howie gives up picks, Howie is already has it in his mind of how he's going to retrieve those picks back, or he's already like 2-3 steps
yeah.
ahead. Like, I'm going to make this move then to like. So that's why I was okay with it, because you're getting a Hall of Fame talent. But like you said, like our four, like prior 3 first-round picks, Jahad Campbell, all those guys, Quinyon Mitchell, like,
Quinyon and Smith.
yeah, right.
No, yeah.
So like you have to look at it that way as well. But I also saw somebody say like, yeah, those 3 first-round picks could also be like Marcus Smith,
Yeah,
Nelson Aguilar, and Jalen
and
Ray. Yeah,
the fireman,
yeah.
I put
Andre
Nelson a level
Dillard.
above those guys, but those are
Yeah,
some throwbacks there. Yeah,
Andre
man.
Dillard. Yeah, those are some bad first-round picks.
So speaking of that, like what the Cowboys were active, and I still think the Cowboys are more or less dead in the water. But what do you guys think? Because they traded with the Jets to get that defensive tackle. Was it Quinion? Is it Quinion
Quinn
Williams?
Quinn
Williams.
Williams.
Quinn
Yeah.
Williams. Yeah, they got him. He's a good player. But is he going to make that difference? And it's straight like Jerry Jones. It just he never ceases to amaze. It's like he's gone for him now. But you had Micah Parsons there. I know it's obviously a different position, but it's what do you think of the Cowboys making this move? Because like I heard Stephen A. Smith saying the other day, the Cowboys are a Super Bowl contender on offense, but they just don't have it on defense. So do you think this is going to give them a boost down the stretch of the season now? I don't think it will myself. What do you guys
I
think of that?
Personally, I don't think Quinn Williams can do enough. That secondary looks bad. Diggs
Mm,
looks like he's taking a step back. Uh, and when you traded away Micah Parsons, that's going back to the same thing we were talking about with Garrett. They traded away a generational talent at
mm.
defensive, at edge rusher, which is a premium position in the NFL. And Quinn Williams, he's a really good defensive tackle, but that would be more for the future. I don't think they're going to do much this year. I would be shocked if the Cowboys even made the playoffs this year. I would.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like, rearranging chairs on the
Yeah.
Titanic a little bit. I like Quinnen Williams as a player, but, he's been around for a while. I think he was drafted in 2019. He's about to be 28 years old. I'll say the one Eagles tie-in is I think that game in a couple of weeks, is maybe a little more challenging than we thought it might be, going into the season when, you look at a schedule when it first comes out. I think we thought, they're going to be a dumpster fire and, just kind of like, easy sweep of Dallas and, outside, we know they played well last year when Dak was out, but I think, I think the Eagles will ultimately win that game, but it makes that game a little more challenging, I think is, like a thing that jumped out to me when it happens.
Yeah, it's always a bit of a challenge down in Dallas. I mean, last year when they went to Dallas, they took a while to get going in that game. If you remember, it was a bit of a push and pull. It was like that Colts game in 2022. It was like they just couldn't quite get going, and then they managed to get it going down the stretch. So how do you feel, Cole, about this game of the Cowboys in a few weeks?
So one thing about so Matt Eberflus is obviously defensive coordinator of the Cowboys. So when he was the defensive coordinator of the Colts, they made that trade for like DeForest Buckner from the 49ers.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I kind of think that like in his defense, like he values the defensive tackles more because I mean like you get Kenny Clark, you get DeForest Buckner, and then like your edges, I think he like you can fill in whatever. So what's funny about this trade though that Dallas made? They also got Logan Wilson, I think, who was like, I mean, like 2 years ago he was great, or like the year that Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl, he was great. So I mean,
Yeah.
like if he can, revitalize his career. But what's funny about the Cowboys trade, just looking at like long term, is that I think Quentin Williams his salary is only like 21 million this year. So it's a cheaper salary, but like I think Chris Jones is making like 28 or 29. You have Jalen Carter's contract. Like so next year they could be on the books. Like he's probably not gonna get a Micah Parsons contract, but they're gonna probably have to end up redoing that deal if he plays well, because he's only making 21 million. So it's like the Cowboys, they just never like cease to amaze me. It's like you guys have a homegrown talent that you guys just trade away because you didn't want to pay him. And then you trade for two guys who's like almost 30, who's gonna probably want to get paid too. Like
that's the thing, and we all know Jerry. He paid Dak, but he just about managed to work out a deal with CD Lamb this year. Or it looked like he was getting close to requesting a trade. And they've always drafted quite well, the Cowboys. You know what I mean? They do draft well, in fairness to them. But then they got Jerry Jones as an owner, and he just makes these mind-boggling decisions, and he anyway, so going into the bye week, Eagles needed to get healthy. We were getting banged up. Cam Jurgens is working through an ankle injury, and it still looks like he's not going to play Monday night. Maybe somehow, somewhere, something will happen, and he will be there Monday. But it looks like Brett Toth is going to be the center for the game. AJ Brown is looking like he's going to play. He said, "I'm playing Monday at the Lockers." So, and hopefully now all that trade deadline, AJ Brown trade stuff is in the back for another year. We're probably going to have to deal with it again next season at some point, because it is getting annoying that every year, this AJ Brown stuff is something every year. Something seems to niggle at him, piss him off about the passing game or the offense, and I don't know. I guess it's just something we're just going to have to deal with as fans, but. I'd rather him on this team than not. I can see why people might be of the same the opinion of no, let's cut out losses, but playing well for one game without AJ Brown, that's not going to happen every week. They managed to get by without him this time, but does it happen in a big game against the Packers or the Lions if he was still out? So so moving ahead to Monday, how are you guys feeling now? Like it's a big game against the Packers. The Packers are playing well this year. I know they lost last week. They've lost their tight end, who was having a really good year.
For sure.
Yeah, probably the best, the second best tight end in the league this year. And maybe apart from Dallas Goedert's having a really good year for us as well. So this is going to be a physical game. Looks like it's going to be cold. Could be some snow in Green Bay. Eagles like playing that, rain, sleet, or snow. The Eagles trained to go. We're happy. I love hearing that. So how do you guys feel about this Monday night?
Let one of the guests go first.
Cory, you're the leadoff hitter. You can go, and then I'll follow you.
Yeah, go on.
All right, so I'm happy, obviously, that the Packers lost to Carolina last week, but I think like that loss, honestly, like might have like I'm not gonna say hurt us, but it's like when you lose a game like that before ours, it probably like refocused the team. So the game could be a little bit more tougher than we first initially thought. I do not think Jordan Love is a good quarterback at all. I think obviously he has the talent, he has the raw talent. I don't like Matt LaFleur as a coach. Like, I mean, you had Aaron Rodgers, and you went to 3 NFC Championship games, and you laid an egg in all 3 of them. So I don't know. Like, Green Bay is a good team. I think that the Eagles are just better. I like the fact that we got the running game going. You get a break, like the bye week off for like the offensive lineman to get healthy. Landon Dickerson, Saquon gets more time off. You got more time to incorporate Bigsby in the running game. I like the Eagles. Now, I'm not saying we're gonna blow them out. I think we'll be like a pretty decisive win. Like I could see 26-17 or something like that. But
Yeah, that'll be a nice win. But what do you guys think? I'll bring you in now, Drew. Like what do you think the game plan is going to be this week? Because obviously AJ is back now. So is there going to be, there's all this speculation all the time that, in that game against Tampa in the second half, the first half of that game in Tampa, everything was going well. They looked really good, nice balanced offense. And in the second half, they tried to force the ball to AJ Brown and it just didn't work. So AJ's back this week. Is that going to play in, or are they going to stick to the plan? And now that they, like Cory just said, they've got the run game going finally, and it's looking decent. So are they gonna carry that forward, or are they gonna try and force things to AJ Brown? What do you think, Drew?
Yeah, so I think I think they definitely should try to keep to a balanced approach. I think Rico Dowdle went for like 130
Yeah.
against them last week, right? Because to Cory's point in the early to one of Cory's first points, I was watching some of that game last week, and I was kind of saying, like, I know, like, obviously, we're trying to get the 1 seed, like, in theory every loss from competition helps. And then also I was like, I kind of prefer the Packers just like win ugly, because I actually looked back. I mean, you guys ready for a crazy stat? The Packers
Yeah, boy.
lost a home game in back-to-back home games, 2 home games in back-to-back weeks since 2013. So we're going over a decade now.
Shit.
Now, for what it's worth, the last time was actually against the Eagles. It was a game Nick Foles played where Aaron Rodgers was hurt, and all. So look, I know it ended up only being like a 12-point win. I thought that Packers team got like embarrassed in the playoff game last year, just like out physicaled, just like outplayed. Like if I was Matt LaFleur, like I would have been like embarrassed with the product that I put out that day. So I think I feel pretty good, but I'm expecting
especially in a game where the Eagles offense didn't even really play that well.
Yeah.
And to that point, Cory, I think this is a big offensive line game where I remember thinking in that playoff game last year, there's the Oren Burks fumble, Jahan Dotson touchdown. The Eagles are up 10-0, and I remember thinking they were going to like run the Packers out of the building. Like this was going to be like a 30-point win, and I think their defensive coordinator, who I think he's a former college coach, head coach, who I think does a pretty decent job. I think basically decided like, well, like nothing else is working. I'm going to, try to just like, bring a lot of pressure, like speed, Jalen up here. And it kind of turned the game into a, slog and all, where I think, they just got to be ready to, I feel like handle some, exotic pressure. And obviously Brett Toth, he credit to him, played well against the Giants. Can he do that against a much better opponent? I think if there's one thing, keeping me up tonight and tomorrow night going into the game, it'd probably be that.
Yeah, Micah Parsons is a factor this time as well. He's used to playing the Eagles. He knows what to expect. We've always seemed to keep him at bay, I feel. Lane and Jordan Mailata do a pretty good job of, keeping him out of the game. So how do you feel, just about Monday night, about the game, Micah Parsons?
Well, Micah Parsons is who he is. He's a great football player. They're going to move him all over the field. Mailata and Lane, they're going to have their hands full. With Toth probably being the starting center. My thing is with our offensive line, it seems like if someone gets injured during the game, that's when the line takes a dip. But if somebody has a week to prepare, if Statler knows this person is going to be out, whether it's Lane or Juergens or Dickerson, if he knows what he has to work with all week, they do good. It's not great. It's not like having the entire line healthy. So they've known that Toth's probably going to play. I was a little worried about it, but the more I think about it, like I don't know if Drew or who brought that up on Twitter, that once they know who's going to be that starter, they do fine. It's okay. My thing is, I was kind of worried about Tucker Kraft coming in. That guy's been a great weapon for them this year. Unfortunately for him, we don't have to worry about that now. Their wide receiver group is okay. It's not great. I don't know if y'all saw it, but like when they were, I think it was Romeo Dubs, they were talking to him about Tucker Kraft's injury. He made it sound like the poor guy was dead. It
It's
was
a
a
Dude.
good
great
play.
interview. Yeah, they played it on the afternoon
He
show,
said he's
man.
in a better
Yeah,
place.
he's in a better
Like
place
that.
now. And I'm like, what the hell? But one thing I wanted to touch on, like when you started this part of it, was you were talking about AJ Brown. And there was a lot coming out yesterday when it was either yesterday or Thursday about they were asking him right at his locker, "Do you want to be here?" And it showed Smitty turn around like that
Yeah,
right there.
I
But
see that.
that's something I don't know who said it. I don't know if it's somebody on the morning show or afternoon show. But that's something, in my opinion, that's a question that needed to be asked of AJ because all this stuff we've seen coming out from him. Do you really want to be here? And he kind of
Yeah,
made it like, really, man? But it's the daggone truth.
But I'll
So
be honest with you with the whole AJ thing, and like you guys can agree or disagree. I don't think AJ has a problem with the Eagles. I think his problem was with Jalen, but he doesn't
yeah,
want to come out and say that because obviously that will cause an even bigger firestorm. So I think that's why when the conversations about the issue between him and Jalen, he never really on it. He never really comes out and says like even the time last year, like he's like our relationship is personal. Like he doesn't want to come out and say it because he doesn't want to cause a bigger firestorm. But he lets
yeah,
people know like yeah, there's a problem here. Like if
well,
like I think if you straight asked him like, "Hey, is your problem with the Eagles or your problem is with the way Hurts plays football?" And he'll probably say it's the way that Hurts plays football.
and see, that was my problem from the get go when they traded for him. I knew AJ from being here in Tennessee. You hear a lot. I'm not a Titans fan at all, but still, you get
Right.
like some of the stuff about the Titans
yeah,
down here. And I was like, daggone man, you see how close these guys were, how they were working out together, and he's the godfather of AJ's kid and stuff like that. And I'm like, AJ is a TO type wide receiver. You and
mm,
Smitty is kind of like I compared him to Marvin Harrison. He's quiet, he's workmanlike, he goes about his job. I'm sure Marvin Harrison had issues with Peyton Manning, but you never heard about it, stuff
yeah.
like that. And that's what I hate for these guys. They were so daggone close, and I don't know what the hell's happened to drive this wedge between them, man. But that's what I hate more than anything. That it seemed like these guys were just like peanut butter and jelly, and now they're
Yeah.
like vinegar and water. I hate that for these
This
guys.
is what I've never understood because like in 2022 when we traded for him, he came in and it was just it was so clear as day the connection that
Yeah,
Jalen and AJ had off the field, on the field. You know, it was touchdown after touchdown, pass after pass, and then even in the start of 2023. Coming back from the Super Bowl, AJ was getting the ball a lot. You know what I mean? Remember, I think it was like 3 or 4 games in a row that he went over 100 yards
The
a game.
big stretch in like October of
Yeah,
2023. Yeah.
yeah,
yes,
he
Yeah.
has some great games. So I don't understand what went wrong after that because it seemed like everything was good. I know we collapsed down the stretch, but even then, something happened at that collapsing point. I don't know if it was like just before the Seahawks game or whatever, but it was something happening, and we may never know. We might not know for another 20 years when they're on a podcast and they're both retired and talking about it. But
yeah,
it's always baffled me. Like, what the hell happened between them? Because it, it was just the connection was so good on the field, and obviously he does still get the ball to AJ Brown because you have to. So it's going to be interesting going forward. But I just, it's always baffled me what the hell went wrong there. Like, it just doesn't make sense because they're so good on the field together when they're in
Yeah, I
rhythm.
mean, I think on a very like basic like human point, like it can be hard to be friends with coworkers, right? Like sometimes like you can be friends, you start working together. Sometimes, the dynamics change. Like I feel like my, big lesson, often is like, don't work with friends, like don't like, don't have like don't like, when you're younger and have like roommates, like maybe,
Yeah.
live with
I
Mm,
was
your
literally about to
best
just say
friend.
that. I think more like the roommate thing. Like you can be friends with somebody, but like once you guys live together and you see like maybe this person's a slob and you're a neat freak, you're like, hey
yeah,
man, like
yeah.
yeah.
Jalen's definitely a neat freak, right? I can't see Jalen being anything
Oh yeah,
anything
yeah,
but a neat
yeah,
freak.
so
But
what one point I want to get back to the Green Bay game real quick. We might talk about this, but I do think that like Jair Alexander is going to start on Monday night.
Oh, really?
I
Do you
just feel
think?
like he's going to start, and I mean I could be wrong, but like I honestly think starting him against Green Bay is going to be great for his confidence, and like I think it also helps the Eagles because he knows that team really well. Like,
Yeah.
like knows those
Yeah.
receivers. I just think it's a good spot. Now, like, I'm not saying he's going to be good. I'm just saying that based off of like just the way that he's been talking, and like they said that, like, I think Elliott said yesterday, like usually there's like a drill where like the two starting DBs partake in, and it was Jair and Quinion, when it's usually in the past it's been like Quinion and like Adoree Jackson.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that he was born in Philadelphia as well. I was seen an interview yesterday. He was born in Philly, and then he moved away, and then he would like spend his summers coming back here before he started playing football in high school and stuff. So I didn't realize that and so he said, like, he was saying he grew up sort of like an Eagles fan. He's got loads of favorite players and stuff. So I mean, that was encouraging. I know he's missed the last like sort of couple of games with the Ravens. He was like a healthy scratch, I think, or something in one of them. So yeah, if he's healthy now, get him on the field. I mean, that's the whole reason why you trade for a guy of his name, isn't it? It's to have that immediate impact, especially against your old team week 1. So
I think he's only played in 2 games all season. He has struggled this year, and things like we've all looked at this season as hindsight with who Howie should have brought back, shouldn't have brought back. I'm kind of thinking he was right by not bringing Slay back. I don't think maybe Slay's just not a good fit for that Steelers defense, but Slay's not played well this year. But I I hadn't really thought about that. I kind of agree with Corey. He's going to know those receivers. He's going to know a lot of things about that. So yeah, it looks like he's probably going to get the start. He was going through that drill with Quinion and stuff. My thing is, how many snaps do y'all think BG gets this week? Coming off the bench, not going through a camp, anything like that. I'm probably at like 10 to 12. What do y'all
But
think?
the thing is, like, it's gonna come to like who's really like active. Because I mean,
Yeah.
you got a lot of guys that they're probably gonna put on, like Nolan Smith's probably gonna be on a pitch count because he hasn't played. Jalen Smith doesn't really know the defense, and then BG's coming back, so it's like you got a lot of guys that you're probably gonna have to like get like rotate in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you set an over under at like 12.5, I think I would take the over. Not by a lot, but I feel like, to his credit, he's always kept himself in good shape. I remember, I mean, look, this is ages ago, but I remember he was, I think, coming off like after the first Super Bowl. I think he was coming off like a ankle surgery, and I remember there was concerns like, oh, is he going to be ready for the 2018 season? And I'm pretty sure, I think it took him a little while to get going, but he was playing a lot from the jump, where I feel like, if Vic likes you, if you're ready to go, he'll give you some runs. So I could see it being in the mid-teens there.
If you
Go ahead.
just, you guys, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to take over, but
No,
if you
you're
had
good.
to rank the amount of snaps like played the rest of the season with all the edge rushers that we currently have, what would you rank like 1 through 5? So obviously you
I
got
would
like BG, Phillips, Hunt, Uche.
Ojolari. I say Ojolari's like a healthy scratch this week. Wouldn't y'all
yeah,
say?
I think he's
yeah.
on IR.
Ojolari's on IR?
Yeah, he's on IR.
Okay,
Yeah.
I did not see that. So I would say if healthy, the rest of from here out, is that what you're saying? Who
Yeah.
gets the most snaps from here out if healthy?
Yeah, so I tried to write this down real quick as Corey asked the question. I think the thing I'm most confident in is, I think Uche is 5, and I actually like the way he was playing. I thought he was showing some decent stuff. I would have him. I would find a way with like the roster math to have him active, because I think he can give you good snaps. But I think I'd go Phillips 1, Nolan Smith 2, Hunt 3. BG 4, Uche 5. I mean, look, obviously the X factor with Nolan Smith is he gonna miss another game or two? But I like that I know he didn't have a super hot start to the season, but I like that he plays the run well. I think he had a big 4th down stop against the Chiefs, right? That I think the Eagles got a turnover on downs and scored off of. So I'm excited to see him back, and I know he played real well in that Packers playoff game last year too.
Yeah, if healthy from here, I would probably flip those, Drew. I would go Nolan 1 and Phillips 2, then Hunt, then BG. But yeah, if Nolan has to miss a game here or there, I can't wait to see what Phillips does, man. Because going from what Miami has been dumpster fire wise, man. We heard what they were saying about Vic when he was on his way out coming up here. I mean, going from a place like Miami to where it's just a totally different culture change and how the organizations are
Yeah,
ran and how just the locker rooms are and everything. That's going to be a boost for that young guy. That's just going to fire him up. And when he gets into that game, man, I guarantee that son bitch is going to play like his hair's on fire.
yeah.
I mean, to
I
swing it
heard
back
like
to go ahead, Adam.
Scott, only quick. Yeah, like with Jalen Phillips, I've only seen little bits and pieces of him here and there, and I know he's got a bit of an injury history, but I think he's pretty healthy now. But like I've heard that he's more of a threat in like the run defense side of the game. He's good in the middle of the field, and he's a good run. He helps with the run stuff in and stuff. So I haven't really seen much of what he's like on the edge. So I don't know how do you think that he's going to be used or in the rush the rush attack more, or think he's going to be was it going to be like rotational? He's going to be used for both sides of it.
It'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting question. In terms of like third and long, like who's on the field. Like obviously you would think Jalen Carter's on the field. I would think if healthy,
Yes.
Nolan's on the field. I would put Phillips. I would put Phillips out there for sure. I think he's obviously with the sack numbers. I think he's a pretty good pass rusher. One thing I liked was he got a sack on Josh Allen in a playoff game a couple years ago. It tells me that he's showed up in a big game, which I think we like to see. I think that the good thing about the D line is that everyone those guys can play together. I think to swing it back to the point you guys were making about Alexander, I think it's really important for Vic in the coming weeks to try to decide on one start. I know there's talk of Michael Carter gives him options, like Cooper versatile options. I think it's important for that secondary to kind of figure out who the starters are and start gelling together. I think back to 2023, and I feel like the DB room kind of turned into a revolving door there. We had a new slot corner every week, so things were a mess. So I feel like that's really important, just to figure out who's the CB2 and can we, run with that.
Not to interrupt you, but one thing about Jair,
you're good,
that I think reason why I say I think he's going to start, because I feel like what is the point? If I would just ask Howie, I know it's a lot of darts, what is the point of having Jair Alexander and Adoree Jackson both on the roster? What is that? To be on the bench. What is the point of having both of those guys on your team to sit on the bench? You know what I'm saying? I just don't feel like that would be. I'm not gonna say they're bad locker room guys, but I just don't know how that would be pretty. You got two veteran guys, 28, 29 years old. I think Adoree might be 30, but just on your bench. I don't know what the upside of that would be.
I mean I think I've seen enough of Adoree Jackson. I just don't think he's got it for down the stretch, and maybe he will. I don't know, but I mean when you bring a guy like Alexander in, he's got to have the starting job, and like you said, Drew, they need to get them positions in the secondary locked up now, because we've got a tough stretch of games. We're gonna be in the playoffs. So we got to get it all locked down now. Michael Carter as well. I think Michael Carter's probably going to be there for depth in case of injury. But Adoree Jackson, if he wins the starting job over Alexander, for the rest of the year, or certain times, that's not a good thing. I don't,
No, at all.
I love what Drew said, though, because with the secondary, man, you've got to have continuity, because you depend so much on communication in that secondary. So you really have to get something locked in, figure out who your starter's going to be the rest of the way, barring injury, And everybody, during the bye week and trade deadline, everybody was saying, get rid of Keeley, get rid of Keeley. Man, Keeley's a hell of a player on special teams. He's not great at corner. He's not. People were going on about how well he played against the Giants and stuff. I think he was only targeted 2 or 3 times, maybe. But Keeley he is what he is, man. But he could be a great special teams guy. Come in a pinch if you need him here and there. I think Adoree, if Alexander comes in and plays, Adoree's probably going to be the odd man out.
Right.
If they get into a roster crunch, I can definitely see Adoree getting cut because they're gonna, I think, have to free up. If they want to activate Cory and Bennett, they're gonna have to free up,
Yeah.
And
free up a spot.
I forgot all about him until you just said that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would want Alexander to start over him, but I think the Packers. To Corey's point earlier, I was a lot higher on Jordan Love a couple years ago than I am now. I don't think he's a great quarterback by any means, but I think they are a team that I think converts chunk plays. I think they had a couple in Brazil last year, so obviously just you need Makuba to not over pursue something, get caught in the wrong place where they just have to gel there.
Like I know we're focusing on like the Packers right now, but like that Detroit Lions team, like you got to be good in that secondary going against them, especially with the receivers that they have and the speed they have on the back
tight end, running back.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to that Lions game. That's why I really need the Eagles. If the Eagles lose Monday night, and if they lose, badly, or if they get beat by 15 points or get blown out, that's going to be tough then. But I mean, the good thing is the Lions game is going to be back in Philly. But yeah, I mean, the Lions, they have got everything. Like, they are a scary offense to go up against. And we avoided them last year because Washington got that big upset in the playoffs. And so I mean, I think last year with last year's team, I think we still would have gone into Detroit and possibly beaten them, because
I think if we would have played Detroit, we would have went in there and blown the doors off of them because their secondary was demolished last year. Their defense, they had nothing left defensively last year. I mean, I think if we would have went in Detroit, we'd have blown the doors off them like we did Washington. But it's a different team this year. Their secondary's still kind of sketchy though.
Yeah, and we can't forget we got the King of the North, man.
Yeah.
Undefeated in the North.
He is the king of the North. But yeah, that Lions game, that if that's going to be a battle of the lines, that is, what I mean, that is going to be the OG Wade 4-point system.
I think whoever wins that game is probably going to get the number one seed in the NFC between us and the Lions. I don't think the Packers can get the number one seed. Even if we lose to the Packers, I think it's between us and the Lions again for that one seed.
Well, I think this is an interesting hypothetical that I'm curious your guys' thoughts on. So if someone offered you a deal right now saying like the Eagles are going to go 1-1 over the next 2 games and you can pick which game you want to win, would you take that deal or would you bet on the Eagles and want the opportunity to go 2-0? I think that's an interesting, just like thing that I've been thinking of in my head.
I mean, I would go 2-0. I would want to go 2-0, but if I had to take the bet, I would want to win over the Lions.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I was.
Yeah. It is because we avoided them last year.
I see Green Bay losing again.
Yeah.
So I would also like turn down the deal and try to go 2-0. But yeah, I agree. It's funny. I think that I think the Lions is the more important game to win because I think especially you get Jared Goff outside in January. That's a lot different. But it's also like the Packers game is first. So if they could just beat the Packers, I feel like life gets a lot easier if you just win on Monday night. You feel good. You got a win in your pocket and then, keep going.
Monday night is a must win. Definitely. I mean, I know we've got a good record coming off the bye week as well. So we've got that in our favor. But yeah, to be able to go into Detroit then with some, continuity and confidence and momentum, we've got to beat the Packers.
Before we move off the Green Bay game, real quick, I got a hypothetical for you. What would you guys give? Say first offensive play of the game. Jalen throws a little out route. Devontae gets 9 yards on it, gets out of bounds. What would you give for that second play of the game to be the tush push? I'd give $100 for the second play of the game to be the second one. Just push it on their ass, just right there in their face. What would y'all give to see that? I would love it.
Oh, it's going to
Yeah.
happen at some point. Yeah.
Oh, it's going to happen.
What I think they have an opportunity to do, and I think they tried it in the playoff game last year. They tried to run a fake tush push, and I think Jalen and went deep to AJ Brown. It was 3rd and 1, and then they ended up just getting the 4th and 1. So I think there's an opportunity to maybe, which they've been doing a little bit, to do a fake tush push, or even at times, and hit a chunk play. And it's crazy. Who knows if that connection happens with the fake tush push last year? Does AJ read inner excellence on the sideline if he catches a 40-yard touchdown?
Can you imagine?
There, things could have been a lot different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I agree, Justin. I hope we'd see one early. And honestly, as much as I feel like the NFL hates it, I'm sure ESPN, for ratings and intrigue, would kind of enjoy it.
The funny thing is, as well, is all the all the teams that voted against the tush push in the last vote, they're the ones trying to run it this year.
Allen has more touchdowns than Jalen does. I think Jalen only had 2.
Jalen's got 2. Allen's got 3.
3 or 4. So yeah.
Didn't the Packers try run it last week or the week before? I think they've tried it a few times this year as well, and they were dead against it. It's just, they're so hypocritical of all these teams, and they're all the ones trying to run it. They voted against it. It's laughable. But yeah, so yeah, the Packers, it's a must win. That Lions game is going to be a huge game, and then obviously we've got the Cowboys then week after. So what do you guys think about the Chicago Bears this year? Because they, I've watched them off and on, and they're a strange team. I don't quite know what to make of them at the moment. The quarterback, he's improved, but he still makes his mental errors. So what do you Cole? I'll start with you. What do you think about the Bears this year?
So I'm being 100% honest with you. If you like to make bets and you're a betting man, I would put money on the Chicago Bears to win the NFC North, just based off of Green Bay having that tie and the remaining schedule that they have. I put a bet on that last week when they beat Cincinnati. But I don't think that the Bears, they're not I don't view them as a threat, but I do think they have a good offense, and obviously they have a good coordinator. So when you have those two combinations, I mean, I don't really think Caleb Williams is a good quarterback, but he's talented. So last week they put up 49 points or something like that. I mean, Cincinnati's defense is terrible, but I mean, you still put 49 points in a game. That's still impressive, So
yeah,
I think we beat them. But I mean, I don't think no game on our schedule for the rest of the season, maybe other than the Commanders game, is going to be a walk in the park.
Yeah,
we got 2 against the Commanders left, right?
Yeah. Jaden Daniels, we don't know what's happening.
Commanders, Buffalo Commanders.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels. Did you see that injury? That was nasty.
Yeah,
but then I seen a report yesterday that they don't think it will be season ending anymore. He's had an MRI, and he might just miss a few weeks. But I mean, the way his elbow, the way that snapped, that was I can't see him back this year. But yeah,
if he's out, let's say they miss 4 games and they go 1-3, there's no way I'd play him rest of the year, because you're not getting into the playoffs. That elbow is going to be susceptible to that again. They can put a brace on it, whatever, man. That kid is the future of your franchise. So if he misses 4 games and they go 1-3, I'm sitting him, man.
Yeah.
Especially with how good the NFC is right now. I think it's going to take at least 10 wins. Those wild card teams are likely to be 10-7, some 11-6. Yeah, I mean, I know it's a totally different ownership group, but you would think just some historical knowledge, as a franchise, you totally bungled the RG3 situation. Maybe take a lesson and try not to do the same thing all over again.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, look what happened to Carson Wentz. He was left in that game. He got beat up, and now he's out for the rest of the year. And I know the Vikings were always going to bring JJ McCarthy back in, but Carson Wentz should have been taken out of that game long before, because he was getting beaten up, and Jaden Daniels should have been taken out.
What's so funny about the Commanders is that the Commanders have the oldest roster in the league, and they're dealing with a lot of
Yeah.
They're dealing with a lot of injuries. Like, I mean, like, who did not see this coming? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have the second oldest roster in the league or something like that. The average age is 30 something years old.
Mm.
the Commanders. I thought it was the oldest.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I knew it was like 1 or 2. I wasn't sure, but the average age is like 30 something, 30, 31. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah,
So
I thought they'd be bad. I
mm,
didn't know they'd be this bad. I mean, I've never been a huge fan of Dan Quinn. To me, I think is a guy who's like a better D coordinator than
Yep.
head coach. I was never a huge fan of him in Atlanta either. So we'll see what happens with them. But their future seems a lot murkier than last year, where the arrow was clearly trending up.
Yep.
right.
yeah, definitely these next 2 games for us now for the Eagles are massive. You know, we can lock more or less. You know, obviously it won't be set in stone because there's still a few games left, but you know we can really get in a good spot to lock up the NFC and get closer to that number 1 seed. You know, so before we finish, Cole, you know, I'm spoken to you about like the Phillies and stuff for a long time. So you know, I hear you, you know, on the afternoon show and stuff. So what? How do you feel about how the Phillies ended, Cole? Because it was a rough ending to the season, you know, with Orion Kirkland making that error and the bats going cold. You know, there's they got to try and re-sign Kyle Schwarber now and JT Realmuto. Do you want those guys to come back, or how are you feeling about the Phillies?
Thanks, Adam. I just got over it. No. No, so I mean, obviously, I'm a big Kyle Schwarber fan. Obviously, like he's probably my favorite player on the team. I would love for him to come back, but like I would want him to come back at the right price. But I mean, the right price
Yeah,
that's compared to him. I seen some of the suggestions out there, like the 6 years, 170 million. Like I don't know if I would pay because I mean, Kyle Schwarber doesn't seem like he's a great player, but Kyle Schwarber isn't a guy that I could see being like 35, 36 years old and still keeping himself in good shape. Like I mean,
yeah,
we see the way he kind of built now. So it's like I don't like I said I wouldn't want that. I do want the Phillies to be obviously competitive. I don't want them to be like like, oh, this is like a gap year. Let's like collect prospects and like build for the next 5 to 10. Like I want them to be competitive. So if there's a
yeah,
trade out there to where like they can pick up a extra person but what does really do make me nervous about the Phillies though is like, so you don't know when Zach Wheeler's coming back. I mean, like this is like a life-threatening injury. Aaron Nola doesn't look good. If you lose Ranger Suarez, so that leaves you with the 2 aces, Christopher Sanchez and Jesus or Jose
Luzardo,
Luzardo
yeah,
or whatever.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think maybe if Aaron Painter or Andrew Painter can't play and he's not ready to move up into the major leagues next year, like I think what was a strength for us could turn into a weakness kind of rather fast.
yeah. How are you feeling, Drew? Now, with obviously the dust has settled a little bit, and how are you feeling? Because it's not looking. I don't know. I'm still nervous about next year. I know, like Corey said, you know, that window is still slightly open for us to try and get to the World Series, but they've also got to make some key off-season moves now and signings. And there are players out there. There's Bregman from the Red Sox. There's Duran from the Red Sox. He could be available. I've
Justin shaking his head.
Justin doesn't want that to happen. Stephen Kwan, I've heard his name that they could try and get him. Kyle Tucker.
Kyle Tucker.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, Drew?
I'll tease this a little bit. If the Phillies sign Alex Bregman, I have a great Alex Bregman story that I can bring to the pod if that happens. Yeah, man, I think they're in a tough spot. I would like to see something new, be it, to Corey's point, question marks around the rotation, be it trading, trying to be in on the Tariq Skubal sweepstakes, signing a Bregman or a Bellinger as opposed to just bringing, Schwarber back. I don't know. nothing that they've said or done so far, tells me that, just that suggests to me that they, think they need to make major changes, and that concerns me. That it just feels to me like they're in a little bit of denial. And I'll just say, I know, Adam, I know you, I know you are, were, at least prior to the, suspension, a big fan of him. I hate this. I hate this bringing Alvarado back. Like,
I know.
Look, your talent makes you worth a certain amount of money, and like, that's just how the economic system works, and I get that. But this to me feels like what's kind of become like very stereotypical of this era of Phillies baseball, where like they reward bad behavior. Like, you hurt the team, we are going to exercise your option. Here's $9 million. Like Nick Castellanos, you complain in May about being taken out for defense, and then you're left in the next couple weeks. Like I'm tired of them rewarding. That's as basic as it sounds. That's the most simple I can make it right now. I'm tired of them doing what it feels like, just consistently rewarding like bad behavior.
Yeah, so, they've got to do something. Go on, Just.
No, go ahead, but finish.
No, go on. You go. Go on.
What I was going to say about the Schwarber thing is, I think Schwarber is kind of the leader of that clubhouse. Everybody looks to him, and the thing about it is, I think it's 4 years. People are kind of hung up on if it's going to be 4 years or 5 years on his deal. The thing, if I'm the Phillies, monetary wise, that I'm looking at, if you re-sign Schwarber, and I know this is looking way down the line, and it's going to seem like bullshit to some folks, but if you re-sign Schwarber, you have Harper, you could have two guys going for 500 home runs at the same time. So that's going to keep that ballpark filled up. If that happens, if they're both around the same time, both going for 500 home runs, but you're going to be losing a huge clubhouse leader unless you sign Alex Bregman. I think Alex Bregman could be a huge clubhouse leader just coming in. I know it may sound ridiculous just coming in first year on the team, but Bregman is a leader, man. He's won world championships. He's been there. He's done that. He done a lot. Bregman done a lot for the Red Sox clubhouse last year, though.
Yeah. No, but I need Harrison Bader back too.
Yeah.
I think they need to resign him. I think like what we saw the second half of the season, he was great. What he brought, is play and being in center field. Like I don't think like I saw something that said like 2 years, $25 million. I would definitely pay that to get.
Yeah, I would take that to get a full year to see, full year of Harrison Bader. Definitely, yes. It's just a shame he got injured, in that Dodger series, because who knows what could have been, because they were bringing him up to bat, but you knew he wasn't going to be able to run to first base if he at least got a hit.
And I know it's easier said than done, but I need Nick Castellanos off of this. Like I need him off.
Yeah.
Like I can't have him coming back into the season and then we possibly moving by the deadline. Like no, like kind of what Drew just said. Like I don't. One thing about the Phillies and that they do, and like he says, like they reward bad behavior, is like it's like they let. And I know it's not a salary capped league. Like like I get all that, but it's like they pretty much like let problems linger on. Like one thing with the Eagles is that if the Eagles feels like somebody's a problem, like they
overcorrect a problem.
They don't let them linger. Con Reddick, they moved on from me. When we had
GJ.
Yep. Like when they had Michael Bennett at the end of 2018 season, when he was kind of, they get rid of him. The Phillies, like, they constantly let those guys get rewarded and like, well, we can negotiate and you can play this amount of games. Like, no, dude, if there's a problem, get rid of him.
Yep, that's true. That's exactly true.
Yeah, they're gonna have to, they need to free up that money as well. I mean, if you sign Bregman, how much is he gonna, how much are we gonna pay Bregman, and Harrison Bader are gonna have to pay him if they want to bring him back, So you got to free up that money, and I know they're still tied to Taiwan. I think, are they tied to Taiwan Walker for another year as well before they can do anything?
One more year.
Yeah,
one more year.
That's another.
And I know a lot of people wouldn't be high on this. Listen, like, I hate to say this, but I would not be against this team signing Pete Alonso. Like, I still think that he can play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I still play. And, like, I mean, like, Bryce Harper, like, I like Bryce Harper, but it's like, you can move Bryce Harper back to the outfield. Like, he's not dealing with injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
not his elbow anymore.
If you sign Pete Alonso, you could put Harper in left, Bader in center, and well, I don't know. You might have to put Harper in right because Crawford's probably coming up to start the season. Put him in
Right.
left. But are you trading Marsh? Hopefully, I hate it for the guy. I started to say Kitty ain't a kid. He's damn near 30-year-old if he ain't. Get Alec Bohm off this team too, man. I just
Oh yeah.
get bad
I
juju
can't deal
vibes
with that
from
guy
that
anymore.
guy.
I can't deal with him. No.
Like
Yeah.
it just gripes my ass watching him piss and moan and cry like a 5-year-old and
Mm,
shit his pants on the playground when things
yeah.
don't go his way. He's 6'3" and he what 10, 12 home runs this year? Is that what he had?
Mm-hmm.
He's not a home run hitter.
Power's always been an issue. I want to say he had low teens again. You're right, Justin. He had 11.
Get him off the team, man. I'm sick of him. I'm sick of Castellanos. Get them guys away from that team. Get the bad juju out of the locker room and bring some good juju in. I mean, the Phillies pushed the Dodgers as much as anybody did this postseason, right? The Dodgers wiped the Brewers. I say as much as anybody, the Blue Jays, obviously. But, I mean, getting to the World Series, the Phillies gave them more fight than anybody.
Well, yeah, I think it's hard, right? Because you go back to Schwarber, and like I wish he somehow had. I wish they could almost reverse the contracts where he had 1 year left, and obviously Castellanos was a free agent because then it'd be a lot easier. I have nothing against Schwarber coming back, but to the point Justin just made, if like opening day comes around and it's Schwarber back, JT back, and Bohm hitting fourth behind Bryce, it's like, what did you do? Like you didn't change anything. So it almost feels like Schwarber could be like a victim of like change for change sake, but sometimes that can be good too, and sometimes you need that. So
Right.
I don't know when it's gonna be an interesting winter meetings when this all comes
it's
to
a
roost
shame
in a
Bryson
couple
Stott
weeks.
couldn't have made that step up this year, where he, at the very least, he could have been in that fourth position, on the lineup, but he had a down year as well, so what's it going to look like for him next year? Is he going to, it's tough for the Phillies. Yeah.
Yes,
but,
sir.
So guys, before we wrap things up, we haven't done college corner for a while. So as I've got,
sucks.
as I've got the reigning college champion here, Cory, with the Ohio State Buckeyes, and got Tennessee, Justin's Tennessee Vols and my Vols as well. I'm with the Vols now. Just it's been a tough few weeks for us. Justin's going. He's had enough. So I don't know what the games are. Oh, there you go.
Shout out Tony Vitello.
Yeah, it's been tough, man. He's going to the the San Francisco Giants, and so we're gonna see how that plays out. But
I'll try to tie this college corner together. If with the Eagles, listen, if the Eagles decide to move on from AJ Brown this offseason, we have back-to-back years where the Buckeyes have two elite wide receivers coming out. Obviously, this year, Cardinal Tate. Next year is like going to be, we're probably not going to be able to get him. He'll probably be a top 3 pick with Jeremiah. But
Jeremiah Smith.
I'm telling you, you see it across the league. You have Jackson Smith and Jigba. You got Garrett Wilson. You got Chris Olave. You got
Harrison's playing
Marvin
better.
Harrison Jr., Terry McLaurin. Like, I'm telling you, if you move on from A.J. Brown and you pair Devontae Smith with like a Cardinal Tate, I'm telling you, man.
Let me ask you this. Real quick, I thought about this. We've seen Marvin Harrison struggle this year. If you move on from A.J. Brown, is there any way, because the Cardinals suck, is there any way maybe you think you could make a move for Harrison?
Well,
I think Devontae's the number one receiver.
The problem with that is, like, I don't see the Eagles. Like, the Eagles would never. I don't think the Eagles would like send AJ Brown to a team where he's not going to be able to compete. Like, if the Eagles
not that trade AJ Brown to the Patriots or something like that, but then put a package together to get Harrison from the Cardinals, maybe.
I mean, maybe.
Where they could move up to get their quarterback.
Will probably be QB hunting this offseason.
Yeah.
So I mean, if they're looking to rebuild, I mean, they're probably not going to give him up for free. We might have to put together something, you know. But I mean, like, this is all hypothetical. But you know me, I'm
Yeah.
always forgetting Ohio State.
Yeah.
So funny story. Me, I only buy jerseys. I think I told you guys this before. I only buy jerseys of people who the Eagles have drafted, and I have
I'm typically the same way.
Yeah, I only have one jersey of a player who we did not draft, and that's Malcolm Jenkins. That's because he went to Ohio State, and I broke my rule for that.
I saw a Jets fan on Twitter last week, and he said that's the last time I'm buying a jersey, and he just had a pile of all the players that have been traded away, you know, and he was adding Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams to it.
But it was like
the
that.
The guy was
It was
going
like
through
that for
some
the
pain.
Eagles for a bit. Like it was like that for the Eagles a little bit. Like they would trade. Like I would buy jerseys, and they would like
Chip
I mean,
era a little bit.
Carson Wentz, you know.
Yeah, Carson Wentz was my first jersey.
Okay, let me throw another hypothetical out at you. We know the Jets are going to be looking for quarterback too. What about Garrett Wilson? What do you think it might take to get him from the Jets?
Hey man, I don't know. I listen when I wanted to listen.
They're selling at the moment, so you know.
I'm not an AJ Brown. Listen, I'm against. I think AJ Brown's a great player. I need to separate this too. I think he is like a chance for us to win a Super Bowl.
Yes,
but I want AJ Brown off the Eagles eventually. I don't think that you can constantly voice your opinions in the media week after week, even after like a win, right? Even after a win. Like I get it, like using me and not use like I just don't like that. And maybe like I'm getting to a point where I'm becoming like older. I don't know, but it's like I just don't like taking shots at the quarterback, taking shots at the team. Like I've never been for that. Like I coach my kids. I'm not for that. Like
it's got to change next year. We can't go through another season of that. You know what I mean? So if they don't trade him in the off season, they've got to meet with him and they whatever the problem is, the issue is, they've got to figure that out because we can't go through another season of this every week. Like you said, Cole, even if they're having success, he's starting to put things out there now, which is a real pain in the ass. So and it's not good. So guys, we'll wrap it up there for this week. Cole, Drew, thanks for coming on with me and Justin. Love having you guys. Love speaking to you guys in the chat through the week and during the games. The game this week is on at because it's Monday Night Football. It's on at 1 a.m. So I'm figuring out whether I'm going to stay up for that or not. I'm not sure because I'm away with the family at next week with we're going to stay in a cottage, and it's because it's a kids park and it's all Christmas stuff. So I said to Justin before the show started, if the Eagles don't win, I'm going to be going after Santa. I'm not, I'm going to be throwing something at Santa. Or you better watch his back, if the Eagles don't win this game. So I'm figuring, because I'm off for the week.
I'm trying to figure out how to watch the damn game.
Oh yeah, you guys got that YouTube problem, haven't you?
This damn YouTube TV shit's killing me, man.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I think you can watch it. Can you watch it on the ESPN app?
No, I have the ESPN app, but you got to pay extra to give them something else because I've got some kind of Hulu ESPN package, but I still can't watch it.
The fact that this dispute is 10 days old now and they haven't reached a solution is insane.
It is. Yeah. And I think if it would have been a bigger game this past Monday instead of Cowboys-Cardinals, it may have been resolved, but maybe it being a bigger game this Monday, maybe that helps push it to be resolved before Monday. But, man, this is ridiculous.
You'd like to think they can get it resolved at
by the 11th hour.
Come out. They're going to lose viewership.
Monday football game this past week, the Monday Night Football game was one of the lowest rated games to watch.
Oh.
In I think the past 5 years or something like that.
Yep.
Oh, man, yeah. No,
so
they
that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks again for coming on, and thanks everyone. If you tune in today, give us a like, a follow, subscribe, and it's been a really good show. But loved having Drew and Cory on with us again, and big game Monday night for the Eagles. We've got a tough stretch of games now once again, but we've shown we can get through any sort of stretch as long as they've got that continuity and consistency and balanced offense. That's all you need is balanced offense. I'm no genius, none of us are, But when the Eagles play balanced offense, they win. They do well. Like, so, it's just do it. Like, So yeah, we're in a good healthy position. So it's going to be a good game against the Packers, Monday Night Football. Guys, thanks again, and we'll see you all next week. Go Birds!
Go Birds! Love y'all, man.
Guys, later.
Go Birds.